Make Dad proud on Father's Day with a smoked brisket. All right, we're going to start off with just trimming some of the fat off of the brisket here. There's two meats, two muscles in a brisket. There's the flat and that you usually get your slices out of, and then there's the point muscle, which is more of a fatty muscle, and that's usually what you make your burnt ends out of. So we're going to start off. We're just going to trim off some of this ugly gray side over here, and just expose get some of the fat off and get a good slice of clean, fresh meat on there. Trying not to take too much meat off of it, but still just get down to the meat and get most of that fat off of there. Okay. I also want to take any of the little stragglers off, any loose ends. Over here, there's a loose end. This is just going to burn. It's time to sharpen my knives. Okay, and then you can see there's just a lot of fat on here, especially down here on the end. Just want to take some of that off. I want to be able to get down to the meat so we can season that meat. That surface fat we don't want on there. The intermuscular meat, that's or intermuscular fat, that'll render out. Just want to get some of this. You don't want to have any points. You want to not have nice smooth edges. Some say aerodynamic. Prevents some of the burning, drying out. So always just try and get rid of some of those loose edges or harsh edges. Just going for kind of aerodynamic, as they say. This corner here is pretty, well, it's not too bad. Sometimes it just get really thin over here, and you just want to take it off because it's just going to dry out. But this one's not too bad. This sharp edge here, you want to kind of round that off a little bit. Make it nice and smooth. Aerodynamic is a good word for it. Seems to be quite a bit of fat on the flat here. Sometimes your butcher will trim a lot of that off. We don't need all of that on there. Some of this meat on the flat, or fat on the flat, a little hard to get off of there. It'd be a little easier if I had a good knife. There's a fat layer that separates the flat from the point, and you can kind of see it when you start to take some of the fat off and expose that on the edge. When I flip this over, you'll be able to see it real nice. You can kind of see it here. Here's that line that separates the point from the flat here. In the flat, you've got nice lean muscle, good for the slices, and then up here you've got more of the fatty muscle that makes nice burnt ends. Okay. All right, that's not bad for the front. Let's flip this over. Get to the back side. Okay, here's this big hard ridge fat that you've always got. That is hard. It's not going to do anything in the smoke, so we need to just take it off. Take as much of that out of there as you can without, and still keep the meat and keep it aerodynamic. Yeah, you can see all that in there. That's not going to do us any good. I'm going to take this ridge off of here. Get a little bit more out of there. You can just feel that in there. It's just a solid mass. Try and carve out of there as much as you can. Okay. Let's flip this around. Let's pretty good there. We might be able to get just a little bit more out of there. Don't want to get too greedy. Okay. That's pretty good. Let's get this flipped around. You can see this other side here. This is that wedge of fat between the flat and the point. Kind of comes in on both sides like this. You can, they call this the mohawk. It's not really very defined right here, but this is more of that hard fat that you just want to try and carve out of there. It's kind of a loose flap here we want to cut off. It'll just dry out. Again, the goal is to expose that meat so we can get it seasoned. Okay, that's pretty good. This little point off of here. Now we got her. Okay. So next step is to get it seasoned. I usually try and get this started at night and let it go while I'm in bed, but Mrs. Smokin and Drinkin and I went to a party last night and stayed a little later than I anticipated. So that's okay. We're just going to run it today, and we'll hopefully have it for dinner this evening. So what we're going to do here, we're going to get this seasoned. We're just going to use regular old mustard as a binder, and I like to use a couple of different seasonings. I like to start off with Traeger's beef rub. It's a molasses and chili pepper. And then I have my own blend of brisket rub that I've made to top that off. So we've got the smoker going at 180 with hickory and pecan pellets. So that'll give it a nice flavor. And we're just going to run this low and slow for 8 to 10 hours. So let's get the binder on there. I think this is a new bottle. Yep, new bottle. All right. This doesn't really add to the flavor. It's again just a binder to hold that seasoning on, especially when I'm doing this outside in the outdoor kitchen and the wind blows like it does. This helps hold on. So, all right, we're going to start off with our Traeger beef rub. Do this one-handed. There we go. You don't want to be shy with your rub. Want to get a good covering. Just get that patted in there. Don't want to forget your edges. Okay. And then we want to flip it over. Opened the wrong side of that thing. Let's get it flipped over. And get some more mustard. We're going to make a mess here. All right, everything cleans up, doesn't it? Okay. And we'll get after it. Doing this with my left hand. I'm not very ambidextrous. Should have done this with the other hand. All right, just get that patted in there. And we're going to go for our smoking and drinking brisket rub. This is a little bit coarser rub. This is why we started with the brisket or with the Traeger rub. Get that down first. This has a little more of the coarse grain sea salt, and so wanted to get that finer seasoning on there first. All right, flipped over one more time. Boy, that smells good. I love that rub. All right, this end is feeling neglected. Boy, that is looking nice. Okay, like I said, we got the trigger going at 180, and we're going to just put that on there and let it go for a while. I like to put the point closer to the stack. Again, talking about that aerodynamic. Uh, want that smoke to just kind of travel along that point. Seems to be a logical progression. So, all right, we're gonna let that go for 8 to 10 hours, and I'll stick a thermometer probe in or temperature probe in there, and so that I can monitor that. Left it inside. We'll check back. I'm just gonna put this probe. I'm gonna use two of them because I have to. We'll put one in the thicker point and one in the flat. That's what we're gonna monitor though. Get these in there so we can keep track of where we're at. All right, we're gonna just slide one right into the thick of this flat. And then the other one will drive into the fatty point here. Try and stay out of the fat. All right. And now we wait. All right, it's been about 6 hours, and we're going to check on the brisket, see where we're at. All right, we got our temp set at, we're sitting at about 150 right now, and we could use just a little more color on there. We want to get it up to about 165, so we are going to turn the temp up to 225 and let it run till we get to about 165, 170 on the temp. So we'll crank that temp up 225, and we'll check back. All right, we're at 165 on the brisket. I'm going to bring it off and wrap it in. I got 2 layers of heavy duty tin foil. I'm going to add some beef broth to it just to make sure it doesn't get too dry, and we'll put it back in. We're going to bump that temperature up to 250, let it go probably another hour. I want to shooting for temperature of 205, something like that. So let's get the brisket off and get it wrapped up here. All right, that's pretty. Okay, so what we need to do, some people make just a boat. They just curl up the edges and make a boat. That way it continues to crisp up the bark. But I want to get that wrapped up and keep all those juices in, and you know, continue to cook the internal temp, or bring that internal temp up. So I'm gonna start with a little boat here, make sure my ends are all curved up, and we're gonna add our beef broth. Probably wouldn't need it. A little beef broth doesn't hurt. Okay, so we'll get this closed up. We're gonna have to put a couple layers on the top to seal that up. A person could leave it like that, but that's just not the way I do it. So get a couple layers to cover the top. This will keep all that heat in, keep those juices in. It's going to make this nice and tender, juicy, and that'll help keep that heat in so we can get that internal temp up to where we need it. So back on the Traeger, we're going to put our thermometer probes back in the way we had them. One in the flat, one in the point. You don't really have to. I would, if I didn't have two, I would just put it in the flat. Okay, we're going to put this up to 250, and we'll let it go probably another hour or so. We'll watch the temp, and when we're up at about 205, 210, somewhere around there, we'll pull it off and we'll do the next step. So we'll be back. Been about an hour and a half, 2 hours since we wrapped it. Kind of hit a little bit of a stall, but that's not uncommon. That's an hour or so, a half hour. That's not too bad. We're sitting at about 207 on the flat, and about, or 207 on the point, and about 210 on the flat. So it's ready to come out. What we're going to do, we're just going to pull it out, leave it in the foil wrap, and we're going to pop it into the cooler here and let it sit. We're going to let it rest and for about an hour, and then we'll get to cutting on it. So let's get it out of the smoker and into the cooler. And looks like it's just gonna fit. Perfect. All right, just gonna close that up, and we're gonna allow that to rest for about an hour. That'll help get all those juices melded back up into the evenly into the brisket, and allow that meat to finish cooking and and getting it more tender. So we're going to let it set for an hour, and we'll be back to cut it up and have a taste. Okay, our brisket is rested in the cooler for an hour. We're going to bring it out, cut it in two, and get the point chunked for burnt ends, and get those on the Traeger, and then we'll come back and slice the flat. So let's get the brisket out of the cooler. Oh man, that smells good. Okay. We want to save that juice and put that in with the burnt ends. So what we need to do is do a little maneuvering here. It is warm. And then we need to get this in here without spilling it everywhere. We're not going to use all of it. We don't want them too runny. Might save some of it for to put in with the slices. Okay. So what we want to do is separate the flat from the point. And there is a logical separation there. You can kind of see where the two are, and you just kind of get in there with your knife and lift apart and separate. Most want to let it just do it itself. It will want to come apart almost naturally. So just let it do it. And when it comes down to the end, just kind of need to help it along a little bit. There we go. And we got our two pieces. We'll take a little bit of that excess fat off of there. We don't need that. Just a little bit. Okay. Now we want to get one of these out of the way. Put the flap back over here. Ooh. And so you want to cut it against the grain. You can kind of see if it's running this way, you want to slice it the other way. So we're just going to cut it into slices and then into cubes to make our burnt ends. Boy, that's nice and tender and juicy. Okay, there's our slices. Now we cut our cubes the other direction. Just like 1-inch cubes. Oh, those are gonna be so good. Let's just take one of those out of there. You can just see that juiciness there, nice and tender. Those are gonna be awesome. So then we wanna put those in the pan, and then we'll add our sauce. And you can see here, I've got Sweet Baby Ray's, and I like Sweet Baby Ray's. I've got 2 of them. I've got the honey barbecue and the sweet and spicy. I think mixing those 2 together makes a real nice marriage of spicy and sweet. The honey just gives it a nice flavor. Sometimes I'll just do the sweet and spicy and add honey. That works too. Okay. I'm going to add this goodness in there with it. Okay. Now, we're just going to take some of the honey barbecue, just kind of drizzle it in there. And then we're going to add the sweet and spicy. All right. Then you just need to give it a good toss and then put it on the smoker. It's running about 340 still from the brisket. So I'm gonna put that in there for about, I don't know, 15 minutes. Get a nice little glaze going on the burnt ends. So those are ready to go. Boy, that smells good with that sauce too. We'll just get those on there and let them glaze up a little bit. And while we're waiting on those, we'll go ahead and slice this baby. And again, you want to cut against the grain. And you can look on the back side. You can kind of see which way it's going. And so if it's going this way, we want to slice the other way. So it's kind of going like that. So we're going to go like that. Okay, let's take a look at that. It's got a nice smoke ring to it. Oh boy, that is perfect. So that's the brisket on the smoker. Let's take a taste of this pale ale. Oh, it's got some good carbonation to it. Okay. That's good. You gotta have a little piece of this brisket too. That is so tender and juicy. Oh, that's awesome. All right, it's been about 15 minutes. Let's check on them burnt ends. Got these for Christmas from my family. Give them a try. Oh boy. Yeah, those are looking good. Nice. Oh, they smell good. They look good. Let's try one. Oh, they're gonna be fiery hot. Oh boy. Tender, juicy, sweet, just a little bit of spicy. Those are awesome. Smoked barbecue burnt ends, brisket burnt ends. Can't beat it. Perfect brisket for Father's Day. Got smoked brisket, pale ale. That's awesome. So as always, thanks for tuning in to Smokin' and Drinkin'. Remember to like and subscribe, and as always, roast.